Is Mount Olympus real? If it is, were people allowed to climb it?
Mount Olympus is a real mountain. It is actually the highest peak of Greece. It is situated in the central part of Greece in a region called Thessaly. In the ancient times, the ancient Greeks believed that the 12 gods, the most important gods of their religion, lived on top of Mountain Olympus. They also believed that the top of the mountain was always surrounded by a cloudless sky called a Ether. This is where the 12 gods lived. Modern people also believed that the ancient Greeks were not allowed to climb Mountain Olympus, but that is not true. By the classical period, and particularly later during the Hellenistic period, ancient Greeks regularly took trips on top of Mountain Olympus. It actually became a very good practice of their religion.
Is there any proof that the myths are real?
There is no proof that ancient Greek myths really existed as real stories. However, they became very important for the religion of the ancient Greeks. And that's something that lasted for many centuries. Ancient Greece was not one country at the time, but it was divided in different city-states and different regions. Ancient Greek myths were actually epic stories. That means they are not real stories, but they were stories that were very important to the ancient Greeks. They were stories that were passed generation after generation to their people. These epic stories are stories based on heroes or magical creatures or the adventures of the humans and the gods. Like the humans, the gods could also be rewarded in the myths for their good behavior, or they could be punished if they did something that was not so good.
Some of the people in the artwork not wearing clothes.
In ancient Greece, it was considered quite normal for young girls and boys up to the age of puberty to be naked in certain occasions. Most of these times involved when they were competing in athletics or taking part in sports competitions. It was mostly boys who were allowed to take part in these competitions and not girls. In other parts of Greece, like for example Sparta, it would also be normal to see adult women and men naked in some occasions. These occasions included parades done in order to admire the power of the people of Sparta, but also their health. A naked body was considered a marker of being very healthy and strong. During the classical times, that is around the 5th century BC, mostly women and men would be shown dressed. The same applied for their gods. They would not be depicted naked anymore. It was only the goddess Aphrodite who would normally be portrayed naked until a much later period in time. This is because her naked body was a symbol of her beauty.
Was there a school in ancient Greece, and what was it like?
There was no formal school in ancient Greece. Ancient Greek boys and girls, in some occasions, would get educated, but that was mostly done through private tutors. This, of course, meant that not every family could afford to hire a private tutor. The ones who were lucky would mostly be educated in learning how to read and write, but also in memorizing long texts. One ancient Greek writer complained that his father made him memorize the entire Iliad and Odyssey poems. Taken together, this was more than 27,000 lines. They would also be learning music, mostly studying the guitar. The ancient Greek guitar was called kithara, and it was an instrument similar to the modern guitar. It was a sign of very good education to learn music, reading and writing, and also compete in different types of athletics. I'm Anastasia Christophilopoulou. I'm the curator of the Greek and Roman collections.